Haruto woke up with the first light of the sun. Another summer vacation had begun at his family's antique shop. This shop, opened by his grandfather, had become one of the city's most mysterious corners over the years. Haruto loved wandering among the old books, maps, and enigmatic artifacts on the shelves. That day, he glanced into a less conspicuous corner of the shop's back room. Amidst a pile of old books and boxes, an old journal caught his attention. The journal's cover was leather-bound with an intricate key symbol embossed on it. Curious, Haruto picked up the journal and blew off the dust. When Haruto opened the journal, he saw a few sentences written in an old script. It appeared to be in a language he couldn't understand. However, at the end of the pages was a blank space. He picked up a pen and began to write in the empty space. "Hello, my name is Haruto. I wonder who this journal belongs to." The words he wrote glowed briefly and then vanished. Haruto, astonished, flipped through the pages, but nothing he had written remained. Just as he was about to close the journal, he noticed the page glowing again. A new message had appeared. "Hello, Haruto. I'm Naomi. How did this journal come into your hands?" Haruto thought the journal might be magical. Someone named Naomi was communicating with him from a parallel universe. Filled with excitement, Haruto quickly wrote back, "I found the journal in my family's antique shop. Who are you and where do you live?" Naomi explained that she was facing a great danger in her own universe and that the journal could help her. Realizing that the concept of a parallel universe was real, Haruto felt both frightened and intrigued. As he pondered how he could help Naomi, he had no idea where this adventure would lead. Haruto told Kazuki about the journal's magic. Kazuki was skeptical at first, but when Haruto showed him the messages with Naomi, his disbelief began to fade. Naomi was caught in the midst of a conspiracy in her universe. Haruto and Kazuki decided to help Naomi. Naomi revealed that a powerful organization in her universe was conducting dangerous experiments that threatened both their worlds. Haruto and Kazuki began their own research, using the mysterious artifacts and ancient maps in the antique shop to find clues related to Naomi's world. One day, a message from Naomi caught Haruto's attention. Naomi wrote that she was facing a great threat and needed help. Haruto and Kazuki tried to support her by sending a message through the journal. The journal's magic briefly transported Haruto and Kazuki to Naomi's universe. One day, they found an old map in Naomi's house. The map showed the intersection points of parallel universes and the power sources located at these points. An important location was marked on the map, the hidden place of the lost key. This key could be the key to thwarting the organization's plans. After preparing to go to the location marked on the map, Haruto, Kazuki, and Naomi set out at the first light of morning. Haruto held the map, Kazuki carried a backpack full of necessary supplies, and Naomi's eyes were filled with determination. As they ventured into the depths of the forest, every rustle of leaves and chirp of birds distracted them. Haruto checked the map, Kazuki kept watch, and Naomi observed the surroundings. "This map is leading us deeper. We should be reaching the cave soon," Haruto said, carefully studying the map. "The silence around us is unsettling. They might be setting a trap," Naomi said, placing her hand on a small dagger in her backpack. Kazuki said, "Let's be ready. Anything could happen at any moment," his voice firm. After a while, they arrived at the entrance of an old cave, seemingly lost amid dense vegetation. The cave's mouth was covered in moss and surrounded by thick vines. "This is it. The key must be hidden somewhere inside," Haruto said, looking at the dark entrance of the cave. Kazuki asked, "Shall we go in? Are you ready?" as he took out his flashlight. "Of course. But we must be careful," Naomi said, feeling the cold air of the cave. The trio began to move into the cave's dark depths under the light of their flashlights. Inside, there were ancient symbols and drawings on the walls. Haruto studied the symbols, trying to determine their direction. "These symbols, they seem to be in an old language. They might be guiding us," Haruto said, tracing the symbols with his finger. Naomi cautioned, "They might also be warnings. Let's stay alert." Kazuki observed, "It looks like there might be something ahead," as he directed the flashlight deeper into the cave. As they advanced, the cave's floor began to change. Gaps between the stones gave the impression of traps. Suddenly, Kazuki's step triggered a mechanism, and massive stone columns began rising from the ground. "Run!" We need to get out of here quickly, Haruto shouted, turning to the others. Naomi and Kazuki moved quickly, trying to pass through the gaps between the columns. However, the columns were closing rapidly, making passage increasingly difficult. This way, quickly, Naomi urged, pointing to a narrow opening. After navigating through the columns, they reached a larger, darker room. In the center of the room stood an ancient chest, glowing brightly. Haruto approached the chest and carefully opened it. Inside, the lost key was shining. "We found it," Haruto said, lifting the key with excitement. "This key could be the key to thwarting the organization's plans," Naomi said, her eyes shining with hope. But just then, a voice echoed from the cave walls. "Drop the key and surrender," the voice shouted. The trio looked around for the source of the voice. From the shadows of the walls emerged agents of the organization. Each was armed and determined. Haruto gripped the key tightly and backed away. "What do we do?" he whispered to Kazuki. "We need a plan," Naomi said, keeping her eyes on the agents. "We need to be fast and careful." Kazuki pulled a smoke grenade from his bag and threw it on the ground. The room filled with thick smoke instantly. The trio seized this opportunity to escape through the confusion. Haruto, clutching the key tightly, ran with Naomi and Kazuki towards the cave's exit. Amid the smoke, they managed to evade the agents and emerged from the cave. Haruto, Kazuki, and Naomi took deep breaths and looked at each other. They were exhausted but had secured the key. "We did it," Haruto said, looking at the key in his hand. "Yes, but this is only the beginning. It's certain the organization will come after us," Naomi said with a determined tone. "We can handle them. Together, we can achieve anything," Kazuki said, looking at his friends with confidence. Having secured the lost key, Haruto, Kazuki, and Naomi decided to plan a major attack against the organization's leader. Their goal was to neutralize the leader and end the organization's control. After several days of preparation, they were finally ready for the assault. Deep in the forest, the trio gathered in an abandoned cabin belonging to an old friend of Haruto's family. The map and the key lay on the table. Haruto examined the key and said, "This key could disable the energy source used by the leader." "That's right. But first, we need to infiltrate the headquarters," Naomi said, her eyes never leaving the map. "The entrances to the headquarters are heavily guarded. Getting in unnoticed will be difficult," Kazuki said, furrowing his brow with concern. "If we plan together, we can succeed," Haruto said with determination. Under the cover of night, the trio reached the hill where the headquarters was located. The headquarters was surrounded by tall fences, and armed guards waited at the entrance. As Haruto hid at a corner of the fence, he said, "We'll need to bypass the security cameras." Kazuki suggested, "We can use smoke grenades. They'll temporarily disable the cameras," pulling the grenades from his bag. Naomi said, "All right, wait for my signal," and carefully moved to the back of the headquarters. She silently neutralized a few guards and returned. "Now," she said. Kazuki deployed the smoke grenades at the entrance of the headquarters. The area was instantly filled with thick smoke. Haruto, Naomi, and Kazuki seized the opportunity to quickly climb over the fence and infiltrate the headquarters. Moving through the smoke, they followed the map's guidance towards the leader's office. The corridors were dark and silent, only occasionally disturbed by the footsteps of patrolling guards. Haruto whispered, "Move silently. We must not attract attention here." Naomi said, "The leader's office should be below us. Keep the key ready," pointing ahead with her hand. Kazuki whispered, "There are more guards ahead. It will be difficult to bypass them." Haruto replied, "We need to be fast and careful. Now!" And the trio sprinted towards the leader's office, neutralizing the guards in their way. Upon reaching the leader's office, they carefully opened the door. Inside, the leader was seated behind a large desk. Holding the key tightly, Haruto said, "Surrender. This key will end your plans." The leader, with a calm smile, said, "Did you really think I would surrender so easily?" Naomi said firmly, "This key will disable the energy source. Your plans are finished." The leader pressed a button under his desk, and hidden weapons emerged from the walls of the room. "You children are indeed brave. But this is where it ends," he said. Haruto, Kazuki, and Naomi quickly moved to avoid the leader's trap. As Haruto placed the key into the energy source, Naomi and Kazuki engaged in combat with the leader. The room was filled with chaos as weapons fired. Haruto placed the key in the correct position to disable the energy source. "I did it! The energy source is offline," Haruto shouted, trying to make himself heard over the din. As the leader charged at Haruto in fury, Kazuki jumped in front of him to stop him. "We're not letting you through," Kazuki said. Naomi attacked the leader with swift and skillful moves. The leader eventually fell to the ground, and the organization's control was brought to an end. Haruto, Kazuki, and Naomi, reveling in their great victory, were enveloped in the silence of the headquarters. "We did it! We saved the world," Haruto said, taking a deep breath. "Yes, but this is just the beginning. We have much more to do," Naomi said, a glint of determination in her eyes. Kazuki said, "As long as we stick together, we can accomplish anything," looking at his friends with confidence. The trio was ready to embark on a new adventure. A greater struggle awaited them to maintain the balance of the parallel universes and save their worlds. But they trusted each other and believed they could overcome any challenge together. After defeating the leader and taking over the headquarters, Haruto, Kazuki, and Naomi had a brief opportunity to rest. However, they knew that the danger was not over. The defeat of the leader did not mean the complete eradication of the organization. A new threat could emerge and put them in danger once again. In the depths of the headquarters, they gathered in a meeting room. Haruto looked at the map spread out on the table and said, "We've disabled the energy source, but that's just a temporary fix. We need to find a more permanent solution." Naomi said, "There may be other secret rooms in this headquarters. The leader might have other secrets hidden," scanning the room with her eyes. Kazuki added, "Perhaps there was a greater force behind the leader. We need to find out," with concern. Naomi's attention was drawn to an old bookshelf in one corner of the room. "This bookshelf. There must be something here," she said, pulling out one of the books. The bookshelf suddenly slid aside, revealing a hidden passage. Haruto said, "Here we are. Let's see what we can find," turning on his flashlight. Kazuki warned, "Let's be careful. We could be walking into a trap," casting a cautious glance at his friends. As they advanced through the passage, old symbols and inscriptions lined the walls. Haruto examined the symbols and said, "These symbols, they might be related to parallel universes." Naomi said, "Perhaps they indicate the location of another key," carefully studying the inscriptions. Kazuki said, "We're finding clues. Let's keep going," moving forward with anticipation. At the end of the passage, they came upon a large door. When Haruto opened it, they saw a spacious room with a glowing crystal orb in the center. The orb shimmered in the darkness of the room. "What is this?" Kazuki asked, astonished. Haruto said, "I think this is a device that allows travel between parallel universes," examining the orb closely. Naomi said, "If this is true, the organization's plans could be much larger," her eyes fixed on the orb. At that moment, a figure emerged from the dark corners of the room. Dressed in a long cloak and with a face covered by a mask, the figure said, "You found the key, but that doesn't mean your work is finished." Haruto asked, "Who are you?" his voice resolute. The figure replied, "I am one of the true powers behind the leader. This battle is far from over." Kazuki said bravely, "We'll stop you." The figure said, "We'll see about that," and suddenly vanished. Haruto, Naomi, and Kazuki were left alone in the room. Haruto said, "This is a much bigger fight than we thought." Naomi said, "But as long as we stick together, we can achieve anything." Kazuki said, "Yes, this is just the beginning. But we are ready," with determination. The trio knew they were facing a new threat, but they believed they could overcome any challenge together. A new adventure awaited them, and this time, it would involve even greater dangers. But they would never give up. And so, Haruto, Kazuki, and Naomi's journey through the shadowy and thrilling world continues. They are taking steps to face dark forces in the temple, unravel ancient magic, and uncover the secrets behind the leader. What will happen in the next chapter? Will secrets related to the shadows be revealed, or will new dangers arise? To make sure you don't miss our story and stay with us on this grand adventure, subscribe, hit the like button, and turn on notifications. Be ready for the surprises waiting in each new chapter of this epic saga. Don't forget to share your comments and thoughts with us. See you in the next chapter, and until then, farewell and continue the adventure.